Is the money in the follow-up, or is the money in never having to follow up ever again? Let's talk about that, shall we? I'm still coughing 6 weeks later. I saw a video today, got a lot of traction about how to follow up with somebody. And, this is more business to consumer. It's the guy does like door knocking stuff, solar, things like that. And his script is very good. Okay, but the concept is you met with someone, you gave a proposal, and they ghosted, right? Or they showed some interest, and he literally in his role playing, like 3, 4, 5 months have gone by. I got to turn my heater off. Ooh, got a little space heater. 3, 4 months have gone by, and these guys are following up. His script is good. His background is questionable. I literally, on this other screen over here, you kind of see the reflection. I'm reading. Based upon the above findings of fact, the following conclusions of law are made. So a not too distant lawsuit against this individual, but hey, now he's a guru sales trainer. Okay. The stuff he's putting out is fine. Some of it was taken from someone else I've had on my podcast, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, the guy's teaching some follow-up stuff that is fine, but it's like having a flood in your basement and asking, hey, how do I get the water out of my basement? Instead of saying, how'd the flood begin? How did your basement flood? Is it coming from runoff, poor slope on the construction of the home or the foundation? Is it an indoor leak, in the basement? Is it from the roof, 2 stories up? Is it, from the shower 2 stories? I mean, so yes, you need to know how to drain your flooded basement. You also need to know how to stop from even letting it flood. So, many years ago, I had a phrase I created called "Life's too short for follow-up calls." And people go, what do you mean the money is in the follow-up? Part of the reason for that tagline is to be different, right? Why do you write a headline? To get them to read the first sentence. What's the purpose of the first sentence? To get them to read the second, so on and so forth. So some of it is a bit tongue-in-cheek, a little bit clickbaity, and some will say this is semantics, but I have always taught that you have a clear understanding, a clear agreement, a mutually agreed upon contract, if you will, on what the next steps are after a meeting, even if there are no next steps. So if the person says, hey, thank you for this, we need to think it over. We need to, if we think it over, that's different. I'll come back to that. If they say, thanks, we are, going to take this under advisement, we've got to run it by the board or whatever. Say, okay, no, ideally you knew that going in, but on a more complex sale, you can't always get everybody in the meeting, certainly not in early meetings. So let's say they have to run it by the board. Let's say they have to run it by the financial officer. You need to clarify, say, hey, that's totally understandable. Let me ask you something. Hey, when is that meeting? Do you have a standing meeting? Or are you going to run this by them? Like, yeah, we meet every Tuesday and Thursday, Monday and Friday, whatever. The board meets, the second Wednesday of the month. Okay, fine. No sweat. So may I ask, what is going to be your recommendation to the board, to the CFO? Oh, we're going to recommend we move forward, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So, you meet on the second Wednesday, boom, boom, boom. So is it okay if I call you the next day? Should I call you the following Thursday or Friday? Yeah, the next day is fine. Okay, you got your calendar in front of you. How's 9 a.m., Thursday after that meeting? Yep, that's fine. Fantastic. I'll give you a call then. So now when I call 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, whatever, hi, is Joe in? May I ask what this call is regarding? Is he expecting your call? Yes, I'm calling for our 8 a.m. appointment. Oh, one moment, please. I'll patch you through. That is not a follow-up call. Oh, Wes, you're splitting hairs. Bullshit. I have an appointment. We have a mutually agreed upon appointment. Okay? And when we book that, I will send that over. I will send a calendar invite. Okay, so maybe it's a video call, maybe it's just I will call you, but whatever it is clear. And I will make sure that they accept. If they don't accept, I'll follow up, and say, are we still on? Oh, well, see, Wes, you're following up. I'm making sure they're not ghosting me. Okay, I'm taking the moral frame for my own if they do ghost me. And I am doing it ahead of time. I'm putting pressure on them. I want to know, look, if this is on my pipeline, it's on my forecast. And I'm not here, we're not meeting again for 3 weeks, right, till they meet with the board. I need to know sooner rather than later if this deal is falling apart, because time kills deals. So if I send over the invitation, like right then, a day or two goes by, I'm going to be checking. I'm going to send a little update on that event, on that invitation. Hey, Joe, just making sure you saw this. Make sure we're still good for this day and time. If I still get nothing, I'm going to be, sending texts, pinging him ahead of time saying, hey, are we still on for this time? Okay. And so if I'm getting ghosted, I am going to start poking around, because I never have one point of contact, one door into a major account. Okay. I am going high. I'm going low. I'm going in between. I wrote a post not too long ago talking about, how I've backfire. I have always made friends with the people that I meet, right? And especially receptionists, gatekeepers, executive assistants. Most sales trainers, they treat them as obstructions, as anomalies, as obstacles, as pain, as peons, right? Someone to be brushed aside, ignored, bullied. It's like, man, I have made more money in my career because I have befriended executive assistants and just treated them like humans. I still have the contact information to an executive assistant at my biggest account. When I moved here in 2004, my biggest account over the next 3 years, headquartered out in Torrance, she was the executive assistant to the IT director. And I haven't sold for them since early 2007. So, now it's early 25. So 18 years, I still have her information. Okay. We got along legit. There was no manipulation there. I would get there early and we would shoot the breeze. So be nice to these people. Okay. But you need to, anyway, right? You need to have multiple touch points. Okay. I was given cell phone numbers to executive teams. I was given info on earnings, on, how things were going, what kind of mood was the boss in. Back when I was selling it into Google, we were using Salesforce.com back then, and you could build hierarchies in Salesforce. It's very cool. And I had, like 15 levels mapped out at Google of people I knew and had contacted, people I needed to contact, who reported to who. Okay, so you need to have multiple entry points. You could still be vulnerable, but I don't want to be blindsided. If I'm going to lose a deal, I want to know early. I don't want to have this thing on my pipeline and find out, at midnight, the last day of the quarter, that I'm not getting that deal. Because if I know early enough, maybe I can salvage it, right? I've brought in managers, I've brought in VPs, I've brought in presidents, I've brought in CEOs to go toe-to-toe, right, peer-to-peer, to try to land deals, companies like that. So you need to have a mutually agreed upon next steps. Again, that's an appointment. That is not a follow-up call. So like I said, this guy's teaching some good scripting, and, he's doing all these quote-unquote pattern interrupts and all, and that's fine. It's a little bit of gamesmanship. If you can hold the frame, and Oren Klaff talks about that a lot in Pitch Anything. But basically, we know the Bible quote, right? When two or more are gathered in my name, there I am. Well, when two or more people meet, period, a sale is made. And an alpha rises up. An alpha is determined, is made, is acknowledged. And it could be as simple as, hey, where do you want to go to lunch today? This could be your friend, right? Oh, I don't care. Where do you want to go? Hey, let's go get Italian. Okay. Well, that's not even worth discussing, Wes. A sale was just made. Okay. Now, and you may say, well, I had Italian yesterday. How about Mexican? No, I had Mexican yesterday. How about, hamburger? And then y'all figure it out. I mean, it's a simple analogy, but you get the point. Selling and persuasion and manipulation are always going on. It is so pervasive. It's like the saying, fish don't know they're wet. Because they're surrounded by water. That is their life. People that are not in sales think they're not in sales. They think sales ain't happening. They think marketing and propaganda and persuasion and selling doesn't happen to them. They don't do it. That's why they haven't gotten a raise in a couple of years. That's why their chair's broken. They can't get a replacement. That's why they have the oldest computer on the floor. Okay? They can't sell themselves. So, life is too short for follow-up calls. Own the frame. When you speak to your prospect, you need to do it in such a way that they see you as a peer, not as a whipping boy, not as a stepping stone, not as a dancing chicken, not as a, quote, monkey. You're a peer. You're an advisor. You're someone of value. And I've said this before, in certain things, when you go meet, say you had a meeting with Elon Musk, smart dude, and whatever, set your politics aside. If I say that name and you get your panties in a ruffle, you got a problem. Get over it, okay? Or not. I don't care. But you're under quota and you're probably a sad, miserable sack. So get over it, okay? He's a smart dude. He doesn't know everything. I don't know his experience with CRMs, but I would guess if I met with him, I would know more on CRMs and marketing automation. But again, he's a smart dude. But my point is, I know more jiu-jitsu than him. So if he came into my school, okay, I would own the frame. So there we go. So my point is, in your area of expertise, recognize the value that you bring and hold your space. Hold that frame. Make them treat you at a minimum with decency. Okay, do not let them push you around. If they agree to a meeting, stick to the meeting. If they agree to an hour meeting, have an hour meeting. Don't let them start late and cut you short. So, again, you're going in there, bringing value, seeking the truth. And it's a truth they may not have yet realized, they may not have yet verbalized, they have not yet quantified the level of the pain and the impact that it has. So you've got to hold that frame, hold that space, get them to admit that there's an issue. Sometimes you can't get through. Sometimes it's just not an issue. They're on top of things. Okay. Say, hey, I don't think I can help you, boss. How about, is it okay if I stay in touch? Maybe reach back out in 6 months. We'll just see if things unfold. We have new developments, new releases. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, done. But if you've met, they're nodding, they're in agreement, they admit that there's some pain, they've quantified the pain, your solution has a positive ROI, it's affordable, it's deliverable, you've got to get them to honor their commitment to meet with you. Okay, so none of this 3 or 4 months go by. So that's why I say life is too short for follow-up calls. You will never have to follow up again if you get a firm answer from the prospect and get them to agree to the next steps. Okay? I had a video a couple days ago, and a lady asked some questions, and so ask away down below if it doesn't make sense, if you want me to expand on some things. Check out my daily newsletter. You can subscribe below for free. And I go into deeper and deeper tips and scenarios to help you grow your sales. Okay. But if your calendar is filled with follow-up, and look, mine was, so that tech company I was telling you about, I joined them in 2004, and I was the king of follow-ups. I was 34 years old. I had made at least $100,000 a year since 98, 99, my first year selling trailers. So, $100,000 then would be like 175 grand a day. Okay, so I'd made at least that much, 98, 99, 2000, on and on, 2004. And I was just hustling. I was just working hard. I was good with people. I was quick on my feet. I was a tireless, curious worker, but man, I was working too hard. Okay, so I get it. If your calendar's full of these follow-ups, you're going to have to finish those up. But on your next call, on your next meeting, don't add any more follow-ups to your calendar. Okay? Make today the last day you ever accepted a brush off, a non-committal from a qualified prospect. Push for a next step, even if there are no next steps. If there are no next steps, then you've got to do more prospecting to add qualified prospects to your funnel, to your pipeline. Okay? So it is what it is. But if you don't admit it and acknowledge it and document it and measure it, you can't control it and you can't improve it. If you can, then you can fix all those. Like they say in AA, they show up, hey, I'm Wes, I'm an alcoholic. Hey, welcome, Wes. And you're halfway cured when you admit the problem. If you've got a problem with your pipeline, with prospecting, with being brushed off, check out my inner circle. All right, it's down there below as well. Hint, hint. You can get it at wesschafer.com. Thanks for watching. I'll go sell something.